Movie thoughts. Swallows and Amazons is a kids' film set in the 1930s about a bunch of kids and basically they're a family of kids who go on holiday to the Lake District. They are on holiday at this farm, and I think they're at Lake Windermere, and they see an island, and this is like the island that they want to go to every year, but they never get round to the chance. So then they take out a boat called the Swallow and explore the island and go and camp there. Basically, the first half an hour of this film is a basic setup story. It literally goes through like the Swallow's journey to the Lake District. It shows you like a train ride where it also introduces you to a subplot, and that subplot is about Captain Flint, who is an English spy who has gone over to Russia and comes back with plans. And there are also a bunch of Russian spies after him. So it's two films. This is a kids' adventure film that is really fun and lovely and great to watch. And then there's also an undertone of a spy film set in the 1930s, which is very interesting, which is, because it is a kids' film, you don't really explore that too much. So it's really only a subplot. The building of the characters in the family was actually fairly good. They didn't rush it too much, although in places it did take a little bit too long to get on the boat and get into the lake and start going on their adventure. Like, I felt that this was where the film sort of fell a little bit apart, was because they were trying to focus too much on setting things up. And I say this a lot about a lot of different films. Making them small and condensed, making smaller stories and making films about small stories is a better way to go than having two fairly large stories going on and trying to intertwine them. I mean, yeah, that's very clever and impressive if you can pull it off, but the majority of the time, it's very difficult to do, and it doesn't really pay off as well. Mr. and Mrs. Jackson own the house that the kids are staying at, and the kids' mum is staying at, and they are portrayed by Harry Enfield and another actress, and I can't remember her name, but they had great chemistry together. They were only a side part, but I felt that was a fairly nice, warm way to introduce the story. Okay, so this is what happens basically with the film, and what I think of it. I thought I did enjoy it, and it was fairly well directed. Everything's okay. The acting's fine, the direction's fine, the soundtrack's fine. The cinematography, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But then, at the same time, the story the children are the witnesses to a larger story. That's the main plot. They're not actually really involved in the overall adventure. They're not really too much involved in the spy thriller bit. And even at the end, they don't really do too much to conclude the story. I feel that there was two films going on, and the spy film I would have liked to have not been a kids' film. I would have liked to have known more about that. That was interesting. I would like a film about espionage in Soviet Russia in the 1930s. That I find that fairly interesting. And the kids' adventure film, where they're going to this island and they're finding another bunch of kids called the Amazons, and they're fighting up, and then they become friends, and they go on little adventures. I also think that that's a great film. And I would have enjoyed those two as two separate movies, and maybe explore more about the characters and the kids in the kids' film, and then more about the spy and the espionaging in the espionage film. But putting them together, it's kind of a weird mix, and at times it does slow down the pace, because there's a lot of things that they're trying to say, and that's not necessarily a good thing. However, I did enjoy this, personally. I thought that it was fairly fun. It was nice just to chill out and watch this. Not every film that I go and see has to be amazing. So, at the end of the day, Swallows and Amazons gets a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10? That's fine. I would say that it's probably on par with a lot of the other 6 out of 10 stuff that I've seen. It's not a terrible movie. It's not an average movie. It's slightly above that. It's got some good cinematography. Like the maps, there's two sections where it's like kid-drawn maps of one of the lake and the other of the train journey up to the Lake District. And that's really good. I like that. I think that was really beautiful. Anyway, if you've seen this, which I doubt it because it is really only released in the UK as far as I know, but if you have seen this, Tell me what you think about it. It's not going to be a big film. It's not going to be a massive film. It's just like it's a nice kids film. Like, I would say it's a nice kids film. It's got a good story behind it. Anyway, guys, until next time.